Awakened masculinity for me means that as a man, I'm living my life knowing where I am, who I am, and what I want to do. And I'm not just a particle floating in this universe. It has a meaning what I'm doing, it has a meaning what I'm thinking and feeling, and how I'm relating to the world. And it's a place from where I can use all my different strengths and capacities to really create the life that has meaning and love and inspiration in it for myself and for others and for the world. Because many times as men we have to choose a certain part of ourselves and our capacities to live from. Either we're smart and we live from that place, or maybe we are physically strong and rely on that energy, or we're very emotional and we engage in the world like this. But for me it's interesting to bring together as many possible qualities that I can find in myself, so I have a flexibility and an awareness and a choice of how I respond to life in this moment. Because life in itself is a really complex experience. And if I always just use one tool to respond to life, I will get frustrated. It's like if my only tool is a hammer, and whatever I meet I try to fix with a hammer, and trying to repair my computer, it will end in a disaster. But if I know that there is different things, and sometimes a hammer is a great thing. It's like in a masculine man's life, sometimes I need just my physical strength, I need to work out my body, I need to connect with my force. But if I'm doing the same thing when I'm relating with my woman, or I'm dealing with my kids, or I'm taking care of a project, and I'm doing everything just by force and not by seeing what is happening, I will create troubles and problems. So awakening means that I'm aware of my power, I'm aware of that I have a strong drive, a sexual drive, an ambition as a man. It comes with being in a man's body. But I'm not a slave to it. I can use it rather than be used by it, which really makes all the difference, which brings a man to know what he wants, to know his limitations also, because being awakened means that not that I'm a superhero and I'm capable of everything. Actually, it means very clear what is my strength, but also what is my limits. Only if I know my limits, I can really embrace my strength. So I know where I am, I know my drives, and then if I'm meeting in a relationship, I know how to practice also something different, to be emotionally connected, to take responsibility for what I'm feeling, rather than the old game of blaming my wife, my children, whoever, my boss, for what I'm experiencing. It's a radical acceptance of me being the responsible person for my experiences. And that really is a challenging thing to do, but it's a very liberating thing. Because if I'm taking on the responsibility, I'm not anymore just a victim to my circumstances. I can change, and I can use and learn and grow and get inspired by other men to take on life with more fun. And basically it's learning about to embrace what normally we don't know or we don't like about ourselves. It's about not being a half man that only knows how to do one thing, or a half man that only knows another thing. It's about becoming a full person, a full man that can enjoy life and has a mission, that can go for something and can also relax with what is happening. A big part of awakening means I know my power, so I also know what it can create, that if I bring my juice and my energy, which means like my interest to my intimate relationships, I know that the energy there will flower, that the connection will get more juicy. But I also know that if I'm bringing just my frustration and my stress and my anger into the relationship, or my domination, it will also create effects. And to take care of that means to be living an awakened life rather than a life dominated by habits, trying to change the world so I will have a better time. Talking about awakened masculinity is beautiful, but as long as we're only talking about it, it doesn't really do anything. We can become philosophers about awakening, but unless we experience it in life, unless it becomes something real that I start to feel, and most importantly that the people around me start to notice, it's not really useful. Because life is not about thinking about it, it's about experiencing. And for a lot of men that's a hard part, because it has to deal with feelings and emotions that we're trained in a way as men. It has to do with feelings and emotion, and that's a place where we in a way as men normally are trained to not go. And that's a sad story again, because we know very clearly now that if you want to live a healthy and integrated life, something that really satisfies you, you need all these elements. If you skip emotions, actually you reduce your real intelligence. You reduce your intelligence and your creativity and your capacity to respond to life in ways that could benefit your life. So it's a radical thing to take back that responsibility here and start really learning how to feel and sense also your body, your feelings, all the difficult stuff that we sometimes don't want to feel. So it's also about learning to not distract ourselves all the time, which is a huge challenge in modern life, because we're surrounded by possible distractions, by our smartphones, by internet, by media. It's like you can be online and flooded with information 24 hours. And sometimes that's quite interesting and it creates a lot of beautiful opportunities. But if we're not aware of this and we just fall into it, we create a lot of stress for our system, and we kind of busy ourselves, so we never come to ask the real meaningful questions. So, if I'm not online, who am I? Yeah? Without my smartphone, do I still know what I want and where I want to go? We kind of hand over our experiences of life to some distractions outside of me, but we don't learn to take a better care of myself, to listen to my inner voices, to listen to the voices that maybe can guide me and kind of inspire me to do something different and to live a life that is more in tune and more in resonance with what I really want to experience. And for this, it really needs the right kind of questions, the right kind of reflections, which we are not trained again to do. And there's so many areas of a man's life which can be very beautiful and can be disastrous. Just take sexuality. It's a place where we have very little real education, but we have almost everything on display through the internet by now. Young men grow up knowing everything before they experience anything. So what we know and what we experience is like a huge difference. So awakened masculinity means to take care, not about what I'm dreaming and what sounds cool or sounds interesting or appears to be sexy or inspiring, but taking care and having a very honest look where I am at and what I don't really know because I haven't experienced yet, and then find out ways to educate myself and to inspire myself. And that's the movement from living life from a mature place rather than from a childish energy that hopes that one day everything's going to be good, or from the teenager that thinks that I'm invincible and the world will wake up one day and think, wow, how great I am. It's to take on that place that I don't know a lot of things, but I can learn and I can grow. And there's really a sequence of development in a man's life that follows basically the laws of nature, where first we are a more physical body. We have this strong drive in our sexuality, which is basically our life force. And from there we form relationships, and we get into contact. We fall in love and we want to be part of something. But then there's also the place where we, as an individual, we want to create our own life. I'm having maybe ambitions and I want to create my career. I want to do something significant, which is a question that every man in some parts and in some moments of his life will have to face. So what is really meaningful? Do I want to leave my mark on the world through filling up my bank account and doing something that other men respect? Or do I find what's really meaningful for me in a more essential way? And then it's not about, like sometimes in spiritual circles it's more seen like, okay, all the goals and all the material achievements, it's not really worthy. But that again is a trap, because we can deny actually our right and our longing and the beauty of achieving something, of creating a goal. So really what it is an art. It's the art of living your life with skill and with love. And in the end it comes down to this word of love, that you're not just living and working hard, but you're loving what you're experiencing. You're there being happy to live your life, which is incomplete, broken at some times, but you're not fully swallowed by this. You know, I have problematic parts. Maybe my lover just left me and I have to face a devastating marriage, but I'm here and I can remain with my dignity of being a man. I know what are my troubles and I will take care of that. And I'm still here. And living from my awakened masculinity doesn't mean that I know everything. I will still have to ask questions, but the questions change. In the beginning, when we're young, we actually ask more, so what can I get from life? How to get what I want, how to get that car, how to get that woman, how to get famous, or how to get something that will make me happy. And in a more mature stage, actually I start to not be so focused what can I get, but I start to be interested more, what can I give? What is my contribution to life? And when everything around me gets more happy, knowing that I will be more happy as well. And in relationships, for example, we start out and we want our partner to make us happy. And we all know that doesn't really work very well. But there's a different way to look at it, that we can sense, what can I contribute, what can I do to create the love in this relationship, in this contact with this very woman right now, that feels, it creates more love, it creates more care, it creates a better world. Actually, the world, through what I'm doing, thinking and feeling, gets a better place. And men sometimes make a mistake of thinking, I have to do something amazing that changes the whole world. And then in our very small encounters during a day, we lack the presence. So in an awakened masculinity, I know that every moment, every thought, every encounter, every relationship that I have during a day is the most meaningful thing that exists. Right now, there's nothing else more important than meeting you right now here. If I'm already busy with what I have to achieve in order to make the world a happy place tomorrow, I actually miss the beauty and the richness of what I'm experiencing right now. And that, I think, makes all the difference of thinking about life, or really being so available that I transform, like literally transform every moment. So I'm here, and my full presence, my full interest, my full love, my full connection with my body is here with you. And I will know how to relate to you with more skill and with more interest. And I might learn a lot about life that I've never thought about.